My friends, if you have not tried corn ribs, let me put you on to something absolutely divine, easy to make, and super easy to devour. Hey y'all, I'm Janae, and welcome back to Sweet Potato Soul. Oh, you do have my cookbook in stock? Great, thanks, bye! Have you ordered my cookbook, Vegan Vibes, yet? You're gonna love this book. It's got 100 delicious vegan recipes that are inspired by the South, by my travels all around the world, and just like good food. You know what I'm saying? Order today. Today I'm gonna introduce you to one of my new favorite recipes, corn ribs. Now, you guys might have seen corn ribs at Trader Joe's. They have them frozen. These are not that. These are 25 million times more delicious than those. These corn ribs are succulent, they're delicious, they're easy to make, and they are perfect for summer grilling. So the first and probably most important question that people ask me about this recipe is, how in the world am I going to cut through the corn? But I actually have a simple little hack that will make cutting the corn so much easier. All you've got to do is parboil it for 3 minutes before you cut it. So behind me, I have got some water coming to a boil, and in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, I'm just going to remove the husk from the corn. All right, now we're gonna place this corn into our boiling water. Boop. Now that our corn is fresh out of the boiling water, it's nice and tender, I'm gonna set it aside to cool off. Obviously, I don't wanna cut it and burn myself, so let's put that to the side, and in the meantime, we're gonna blend up our spices. We're gonna combine smoked paprika, nutritional yeast, garlic powder, and salt. I'm gonna mix this up and just set it aside. We're gonna divide this and use it on the corn twice. That's why it's so much spice for only 4 stalks of corn, or what is it, heads of corn on the cob, 4 cobs. All right, now it is time to cut the corn. It is cool to the touch. I'm not gonna burn myself, but it's so difficult to cut this if you don't parboil it ahead of time. Hi, baby Jay. Get out of my shot, girl. The first thing you're gonna need to cut the corn is a very sharp knife. I just had my knife sharpened a week ago. It was not sharp before this. And the reason you want it to be nice and sharp is sharp knives are less likely to slip and cause injuries. We are gonna put our knife at the very top of the stalk. Now, we have to make sure we never put our fingers below the knife, just in case it does slip. However, you also need to be able to stabilize it with your hand. So what I like to do is just grip it firmly on either side as close to the top to the knife as possible. So really as close to the top of the corn. And then I'm gonna press down. Again, remember, we've already parboiled it. So I've already been able to cut about 1 inch into it. And now you're gonna wiggle your way if you need to. And then try to get your fingers free. Now my fingers are free. I've cut down enough where I can just stabilize that corn totally on top of the knife. Now I don't risk slicing my fingers off anymore. And again, I'm wiggling my way down, and now I have cut the corn in half. All right, so now we've got to quarter it, right? So cut these halves in half. And as much as you can, try not to break the corn. Like, that can be a little difficult here. Especially once you have parboiled it, it's softer. So try to keep the corn intact. If pieces break off, that's totally fine. You can still use it in the recipe, still season it like you would the other pieces. But of course, for the effect, we want long, thin slices of corn. All right, now I'm gonna show you another way of cutting it that's a little bit easier. Instead of 4 long corn ribs, we're gonna have 8 short ones from this 1 stalk of corn. And because I'm showing you both options, I'll have a blend, which is perfectly fine as well. So we're gonna just cut it in half. For this, you need some elbow grease. Sort of push down on it. Make sure your fingers are not in the way because we don't wanna lose any fingers. And now we've got 2 flat surfaces. Again, both sides stand up. And once again, stand there. Once again, we're just gonna cut down, cut through, and we're just quartering it again. Now we have a beautiful tray of sliced corn. I'm really ready to eat these. funny, like eating these is kind of like eating popcorn. You know when you eat popcorn, for those who love popcorn, you know when you eat popcorn and you can't stop, and it's like if you're sharing it with someone else, it's almost like you're competing to eat more than the other person. I do that all the time with my daughter, and we're both like stuffing our faces full of popcorn. So satisfying. These delicious corn ribs give me the same satisfaction as eating popcorn. I guess it's the corn. So now what we've got to do is season up our corn. I have the mixture of the spices that we blended together earlier. I've got a tablespoon of avocado oil. Just pour it right onto your corn. And you can use your hands or you can use tongs. I'm gonna use tongs to toss the corn as well as you can in the oil. Now we're gonna sprinkle 2/3 of the spices onto the corn. Now I'm gonna get my hands dirty though, you guys, because I wanna make sure that the spices really penetrate into the corn. The rest of these spices we're gonna set aside for later, okay? I've got something special for that. But let's use our hands and just do our best to toss the corn. We want the spices to get on every surface, like every part of the corn to be spiced, right, and flavorful. And if you need, you can even rub the tops of the corn, especially into any excess spices that pool at the bottom of your mixing bowl, or in my case, a baking dish. And just want to make sure. And then we're gonna spice it again after they come out of the oven. So it's gonna be extra delicious. Ooh, I just wanna eat some right now. Ooh, this makes me so hungry. And I had corn for lunch too. I'm having a corny day, y'all. Now I've got my cast iron dish. You wanna make sure that we're not overcrowding our corn. I'm going to place them with the cob side down and the kernel side up, all right? You can totally do it opposite, that's fine too. But I find that the kernels blister really nicely when they're exposed directly to that heat, okay? So that is why I'm doing it this way. And we don't want them to be too close. We want at least a 1/2 inch of space in between each of our corn ribs, all right? We're gonna place these in the broiler for 6 to 7 minutes. Then we're gonna give them a flip and put them back in the oven for a few more minutes just to make sure that they are perfectly cooked and tender throughout. Now the rest of these I'm gonna take outside and grill, and you'll know they're done after about 10 minutes or up to 15 sometimes, depending on your grill. You'll know they're done once the corn kernels start to blister and you get those nice golden and black marks, and also the corn starts to curl up. Same thing with broiling it, baking it, or air frying it. As you cook the corn, it will curl up. All right, we have got some beautiful corn ribs right here. They are perfectly tender and nice and blistered along the edges and a little bit hot, but they look super good. I also love how the corn kernels open up so that you can see straight into them. And this leads us to our next part of the recipe. We are going to blend up some vegan butter with the remaining spices, and then we're gonna put that on the corn. And the corn, you know, the kernels having space between them means they are gonna soak up all that extra flavor before we serve them. And you can pour it straight onto the corn if it's in a, you know, cast iron skillet like this, or you can transfer them to a mixing bowl and toss it with the butter, whatever you wanna do. But I'm just gonna do it here in the pan, and then we'll plate them on a different plate, all right, separately. Toss to make sure they're all coated, and then we're gonna just put it on a plate, and I'm gonna garnish it with a little bit of fresh cilantro and a little squeeze of lime, and then that is it. This recipe is so easy to make, as you see, and it's great all summer long and really all year long. But I especially like this one for one of your, you know, summer grilling recipes. You can take it to cookouts. You can, you know, have it any day of the week. Y'all, this is even better when you've got fresh corn straight from the farmer's market. When I plate them, I like to make sure that the corn kernels are facing out. I think it just looks a lot prettier that way, and more impressive, basically. And you can leave the lime on the plate, sort of as a visual garnish, in case you want to add more, or whoever you're serving it to wants to add more. A lot of people ask me, do you actually eat the cob, like the inner part of the corn? No, you eat the corn kernels off of it and all the succulent, delicious spices that come with it. and then you discard the cob, which is sort of like when people eat ribs, they don't eat the bone. Sort of same idea with these. So good. They get up in your tooth, but it's worth it. And if you want a dipping sauce to go with these corn ribs, don't worry, I've got you covered with this delicious red pepper aioli. That recipe is in the same blog post, and I'm going to link it in the description box below. I actually have a similar recipe for corn ribs in my brand new cookbook, Vegan Vibes. So once you've given these a try, make sure you try the gochujang garlic corn ribs that are in my new cookbook. The difference is they're sticky and they're spicier because they're made with gochujang, which is a Korean red pepper paste. But if you want a milder version, something that's not spicy and that is also great for children, this recipe is exactly what you need. Y'all, these corn ribs are literally, I cannot stress this enough, these are finger licking good. You just want to be like on all the fingers. And then that's a mark of a really good recipe in my book. I'm a Southerner. That's how we judge. Is the recipe great? Do you need to use your hands to eat it? And if so, is it finger looking good? Because these sure are. So make sure y'all give this recipe a try as soon as possible and let me know what you think. The link to the recipe is down below in the description box. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed to Sweet Potato Soul, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any future videos with delicious vegan food like this. I'm gonna finish eating this corn and share it with my family, y'all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye. So good.